In this video, I want to talk to you about the 10 things that I wish I knew before starting IdleOn. So hopefully, after this video, you won't make the same mistakes that I did. Starting out with the first thing, and these aren't in any particular order, but this is definitely the biggest thing that I wish I knew. So you probably know that if you talk to Prometheus at level 10, that's when you get to pick your first class. But what they don't tell you is that you're not going to be able to change this ever. And while that's nothing new, in most games you can't change what class you are. You can usually delete your character or make new ones. And although you'll be able to make plenty of other new characters later, you won't be able to delete any of them. So for example, you made just a bunch of the same class because you didn't know any better. You're just stuck with them. You can't change them, you can't even delete them and start over. The only way to possibly start over is to just make a whole new account or something. So this is by far the biggest thing that I wish I knew. Now I want to talk about something called quick ref. So if you go in the codex here, and it's just left of the cards, there's something called quick ref. And this was something I didn't know. I didn't even know it was here until I was many months in the game. So starting off with the first thing, you can access your anvil here, and this is massive because this means you don't have to go back to town every time. Not only can you view all your recipes here, so if you just want to quickly look what you need to make something, you can do it here without having to go to the wiki or anything like that. But you can also spend your anvil points, and you can even deposit your materials here with quick deposit, and you can change what you're producing. So this is a huge time save, so you don't have to go back to town. Not only can you do the anvil, there's tons of other things you can do here. You can view your storage, and you can actually deposit money. You can deposit money, you can take out money. Now you can't deposit your items or take out any kind of items. But it's still very good, just so you can see what items you have. And then you can also view the task board. You can view achievements here, and you can even spend your merit points, spend your unlocks. What else is there? Post office, you can view your post office orders, so this way you know ahead of time before you even go to the post office. I know I don't have this, so I might want to make this before I go to the post office for nothing, just to waste my time going there, and I don't even have it. And you can also equip obels. You can also do your alchemy here. Again, even if you could just view this stuff, this would be really, really useful. But not only can you view it, you can actually level it up. So it's really useful. And then as you can see here, you can also change your star sign. You can spend your arcade balls and various other things you can do here. So this is a massive thing to not know about. Now I want to talk about cards. Cards were a big thing that I overlooked in the game. I saw that they were dropping. A lot of the times I would when I logged in and claimed my AFK gains, I would see these little cards drop, but I had no idea what they did. And so I just didn't really think about it. I didn't know what to do with them. And you could say, well, that's just my fault because I didn't really look in here that much. And it is. If you're not paying attention, you could just kind of miss these things in here. So that was one of the things I missed, and it was mostly my fault, I would agree, but it's definitely it was a big thing I missed out on. Now this next one is a little more sneaky, and I see how many people could fall into this trap as well. And it's the fact that your class level can only get you so far. And what I mean by that is it could be very tempting to just leave your character in one spot for days or weeks or even months at a time like I did. I would just leave them just the highest area I could farm, and I'd just leave them there for months at a time. And this will work at first, and when you log back in, you'll gain a lot of levels. Like you might go up like 10 or 20 levels and gain a lot of money and materials. But this starts to have really high diminishing returns, I found. And even after being offline for many months, I would come back in and I would hardly have really made any progress. I would just gain maybe a couple levels and a few platinum, and that was it. And so this means that it's really important to not only care about your levels, but also you need to figure out what kind of materials do you need. You need to use the anvil to make higher quality equipment and doing tasks and things like this, and doing quests and working on your gathering too. Now I want to talk about dungeons. So if you come here in the Froggy Fields map, just below the picnic basket, there's a portal that'll take you to your first dungeon. Now if you're anything like me, you just saw this and you saw that you need to be in a party, and it just felt like too much work finding other people, so you didn't even want to do it. And I waited till like World 3, I think, to even do my first dungeon, just because I didn't want to wait around to find a party. But this was a huge mistake. And not only is there a find party button up here so you can find other people pretty easily, you can also just make your own party if you just click this button. And you don't even need to wait for other people. You can just go in just by yourself. As long as you create that party, you can just go in whenever you want. But the reason it's so important to do dungeons is because they give you a lot of items. Okay, so if you see here, you open up the shop. There's two different kinds of shops. There's one that is just for the things that'll help you in the dungeon, and then there's the Flurbo shop, and this will help your overall account. So here there's keychains, and there's a few talent books you can get as well, which will help. And there's many necklaces and rings you can get, especially the Rex ring is very good early on, as it's going to help your skill efficiency by quite a good bit. Not only that, you can get a bunch of various stat boost here that's going to boost every character on your whole account, so it's quite important. The talent point especially is really, really good. So yeah, you definitely want to make sure you're at least doing a little bit of dungeons early on. Now I want to talk about recipe unlocks that you can get from the task board. So this is another mistake that I made personally, is I did not know if you go in here to the task board, you see you have all these tasks you can complete, as I'm sure you've noticed. But what you might not have seen here is this tiny button up here called unlocks. And if you just go in here real quick, you might very easily miss it, but it's extremely important because it's the only way you're gonna really get new recipes. So if you're not unlocking these, you're not gonna be getting stronger equipment for the most part. And this was really, really painful for me because I was still using the boxing gloves. I was like level 50 still using those, and I was wondering, why am I not getting anything better by now? And then I found this and I was like, oh crap, it all makes sense now. Now coming into World 2, alchemy was a big thing that I just completely avoided. I avoided it like the plague, and for a good reason, I would say, because it can be quite confusing when you're first learning it, but it's really important, and it's possibly one of the most important things you can do for your account in all, like in general. It's like one of the easiest things you can do, really. Like, yeah, you gotta have the materials for it, but assuming you do, like, it helps all your characters in massive ways. Like the hammer bubble is going to give you one extra anvil slot, so this is a huge deal. So you're going to have that much more anvil materials. I can't really cover it just in this short video, but I would say just go watch a tutorial on alchemy because it's really useful to learn it. how it works. Now, one of the more hidden things that you might not have noticed is star signs. So how do you get star signs? Well, first, what are star signs? If you go in here into Quick Griff, or you can just go, well, if you're here in person, but then you would already know about it. So if you go here to this telescope, it's called Where the Branches End. Then there's this telescope, and basically you just do a quest for him. I forget what it was exactly, but I don't think it was that hard. Anyway, so you do a quest for him, and then you're going to get your first constellation right here. So how it works is you get the constellations on the maps. There's going to be all kinds of different constellations that you can get, and they'll have different requirements. So this one, you just need to AFK here for 1 hour. And when you do this, then you'll get a constellation point, which you can use to unlock star signs. So that's how you get your star signs. And the star signs are unique to each player, so you can have different ones on each different player. And they'll give you all sorts of various boosts, various passive boosts, but you just need to be aligned to them. So you can see I have here 5% drop rate and 2% fight AFK gain, and I can just change it whenever I want. So I can just pick whatever is most suitable for this character. You might have missed it. It's very, very easy to miss, because if you don't come up to the top of the tree here, you never even know it's here. Okay, for the next thing I want to talk about is the anvil. So, as I'm sure you know, you can spend your points here, and you can buy points. Or maybe you didn't notice this, but I don't want to assume anything, but actually I didn't know you could buy points for a while. Even though there's a giant button here, I somehow missed it. And I don't know, I kind of thought it was asking to like buy them with like money or something, so I never even clicked it. But yeah, you can buy your points here, and you can buy them with money, or you can buy them with materials. And it's best to do both. Yeah, I would do both of them if you can. If you have no materials, then do it. But I wouldn't go out of your way like farming the materials, unless you want to. I mean, you can. But the main thing I want to talk about here is how you spend your points. So what I kind of did, because I didn't really know any better, is I just kind of put my points in everything, really. I just kind of put a little bit in XP, a little in speed, and a little in capacity. But really what you want to do is you want to just go all in speed. And the reason for this is because the more things you're producing, the more XP you're going to get anyway. Because the XP is just based on how many things are you producing. So by getting your speed higher, you're also going to be getting more XP. But then you're going to say, well, won't my capacity be full then if I don't put any points in capacity? And that shouldn't really be too much of an issue, because your capacity is also based off of your material capacity, meaning that you can get better material pouches, and that will increase your anvil capacity also. But if you find that that's still not enough to keep your anvil from being your anvil materials from capping out, then you just want to produce the highest thing possible. So for example, if I'm making thread and it's being capped out in an hour, it's being full in an hour, then I just might want to produce something a bit higher, just to go as high as you need to where you don't have to check it constantly. But with that said, it is better, the faster thing you produce, the more XP it'll give per hour. Like thread gives the most XP per hour, but it can just be annoying though if it's constantly being full and you constantly have to check it, then it's not really worth it to you. And the reason why this is especially important is because you cannot reset your anvil points until World 3, and even then it costs over 1 platinum to buy the reset waystone. So yeah, you definitely want to make sure you get your points right, because it could be months before you get into World 3 and actually able to reset your points. Now the last thing I want to mention is about the gem shop. For the longest while, I didn't even look in the gem shop because I just figured I didn't really have that much gems, and I don't know, I just kind of overlooked it. So I never even bothered to open this, but this is a big thing. This is really important that you buy various different things in here. I'll just briefly go over a few. Like the Infinity Hammer is really, really good. It lets you produce 2 anvil items at once. So it's kind of like the alchemy bubble, and you can actually have all of them, so you can have up to 3 items at once if you have this also. Now, I'm not going to go over every single thing in here, but I will link a video. GriffyBit made a video about this. He talks about what are the best things to buy with your gems. So I'll link that. But yeah, it's definitely important to at least spend them on something. You don't want to just completely overlook the gem shop, because there's a lot of really good boost you can get in here that's going to help you progress a lot faster. So that was everything. Most of them you probably would know if you just paid enough attention, but if you're just kind of not paying that much attention, then you could easily overlook a lot of these things. So that was everything. I hope it helped, and thanks for watching.